I love that you're asking this
That's
question.
great.
I love that you're asking this question because to get to the place where you're going through that level of training, you've already been psychologically assessed in a realm of antisocial behavior that makes it so that you know, and the people who are training you know, that you're not really wired to feel guilt about manipulating others.
My follow-up to that is this. Before you came here, I was ready to ask you a bunch of, I don't want to even call them hard questions, but I had less empathy for you. Now that we've spoken a bit and I like you, I have a little bit more empathy. So I'm like, do I really want to ask him a question that he might get in trouble for answering by the CIA? And I'm starting to feel these sensations. And I know the thing that would make me feel that guilt is also the thing that I'm curious about. But you've charmed me, I guess, or maybe I enjoy talking to you or arguing with you about Europeans being stupid, which is what we both agree ultimately. But I guess what I'm saying is that would be horrible for the CIA. I would be, because I'd feel too bad. I'd get
operative.
Yeah, horrible operative.
Yeah.
He just said it right. Bad field.
You also can't keep a secret ever. So.
Yeah, I'm not good at that.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a couple of things there, right? So
Or I'm already part of the CIA and I'm tricking all of you.
and that's even better.
Disinformation agent.
So the thing to keep in mind here is that there's an element of predictable behavior that's wired into us cognitively from childhood, right? So especially people who have had experiences with significant trauma as children also have a higher likelihood of developing antisocial disorders or antisocial conditions as adults, because as children we tried to fit in and we were rejected. So now as adults we're like, fuck trying to fit in, but maybe I should still try to fit in because it's just easier if people think I fit in, right? So there's an element of that.
Do you feel that way about yourself?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, for me, I'm nice because I'm
You're incredible at socializing.
It's all.
You think it's manufactured? It's all kind of learned?
No, it's real, but the difference is what happens on the back end, if you will, right? Like having a conversation, like you were saying you'd feel guilty asking me questions. I wouldn't feel guilty asking you questions because I've been conditioned through my childhood trauma to be kind of safe of feeling like, I'm going to ask you a question. It's your responsibility if you answer or not. I was literally talking to my wife about this the other day because my wife is also a former CIA, so we have some very dark conversations. And the question was, if you were crossing a street and you were crossing a street at a time when you needed to cross the street to get away from some creepy dude who was standing at the street corner. But when you crossed the street, you made another car swerve because you crossed when it wasn't a crosswalk and that car crashed. Right?
Okay.
So you just saved yourself from creepy dude who's standing at the edge of the sidewalk, but that car crashed. Do you feel bad?
Yeah.
I mean,
my answer is no.
I
don't feel bad.
What am I supposed to do? Like,
well, I don't feel bad because I self-preserved, got myself off the X, a term that we say getting off the X. The dude that crashed wasn't driving responsibly or else he wouldn't have crashed.
And it wasn't your intention.
And it wasn't my intention.
You know what is crazy coincidence? Maybe not. I grew up in Dallas, born and raised. The spot where JFK is killed, you know how it's marked on the road?
Yeah.
It's an X.
With an X
So, yeah.
on the road?
Yeah. There's an X on the road. So off the X really makes me think you guys killed JFK.
They left their signage.
But now you've studied people enough to know that like this guilt response is quite normal.
Right.
Right.
In a socially conditioned person.
And you're saying you just feel none of it.
I don't feel none of it. It doesn't hold me back.
All right, so you feel it, but it doesn't stop you. Gotcha. Whereas like a sociopath, for example, might not feel it at all. Oh, so you're in a really advantageous situation because you could act on that feeling if you think it's the socially responsible thing to do. But if you need to get where you need to go, you won't.
I act on the feeling when it is a personal benefit. And that's the difference between a true sociopath, which is, remember how we were talking about antisocial disorders?
Yep.
A true sociopath is actually clinically called antisocial disorder, antisocial personality disorder, ASPD.
Okay.
So that's a clinical thing, just like a psychopath is a clinical thing on the antisocial personality disorder spectrum. Whereas what I'm talking about is useful elements of sociopathy.
Yeah.
But still able to fit into a larger society.
Yeah, my cousin's a psychiatrist. He always distinguishes between sociopath and having sociopathic tendencies. And he's like, there's a lot of really successful people who have sociopathic tendencies.
What an
advantage.
true sociopath would make a bad agent.
Correct, because a true sociopath lacks
able to.
empathy.
Right.
A true
Which you need to
soci-
connect
Now,
to get the
follow-up
coffee.
question, somewhat
To
related.
get the coffee.
Yeah.
Somewhat related. Everybody, mental health is huge in every job. In the CIA, they're like, no, you're not doing no fucking therapy. We're not paying for anything. I don't want you to work on this part of you. Or is there very specific therapy? How does that work?
It's an abundance of therapy options because of exactly that reason. So, to your point about how some very high-performing people have sociopathic tendencies, what else do very high-performing people have? Incredible vices, right? Substance abuse, sex, right? Pathological lying,
They've
physical
really got to
abuse.
find the right operative. Wow, this is a fascinating case study. You need to find someone fucked up enough where they don't feel the guilt so they can go out there and do things that do induce guilt on the average person, but not so fucked up that they're going to be doing cocaine, fucking girls nonstop.
To get over
this
the
is-
guilt.
To get over the guilt or to cope with these feelings that you have. I mean, that is a small window.